Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Podcast. It's 3 straight wins for your Chicago Cubs. Back-to-back series wins, 5 of 6. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody Del Mendo, and Joey running the 1s and 2s. Spinning dials for us tonight. I see the live YouTube chat is up and running tonight. Having a good time. Thanks to everybody that's there already. Best way to enjoy the CHGO experience is to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube page, but of course we also appreciate our podcast friends as well. So 5 out of 6. Are the Cubs back? Are they back, Cody Del Mendo? Have you been reeled in a series win over the Orioles?
No. They're not back yet.
You're not reeled back.
Are Beer Bat Chugs back?
I'm not. No. Beer Bats are not back yet. All right.
Remember when Luke wanted them to sell 2 days ago?
No, he still does.
I still do.
So.
He still does.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
I'm not saying they're back yet. However, I am saying that they are in the right path to that direction if that is to so happen.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I am.
They are on an upward trajectory. Is what you're saying?
Listen, they won a series against one of the best teams in the league, and they've won 5 out of the last 6.
5 of the last
All
6,
right?
3 in a row for the first.
And like dominating fashion. There wasn't a 1-run game. They won 4-0 tonight. They went up against Corbin Burns and scored 3 runs off him.
Yeah.
They won yesterday on again.
9-2.
It's not like they beat the Angels.
Like that the last
25 hits unless they got another one.
It's not like they beat the Angels. They beat one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, 25 hits.
And again, I'm gonna read the YouTube chat, but like I'm not gonna go into this whole like should they buy or sell thing. Like they're not set up to sell like y'all want to sell. They're just not. They can we've talked about certain guys they can move, but like are they going to get the true value of a lot of those guys? I don't necessarily think so. So the best case scenario is that they play better, man. Yeah. We've been saying that for months. So again, you gotta if things are gonna work out the way that
baby counts
that they need it to work out, then I'm not saying buy. I'm just saying they need to play better and then put themselves in position to perhaps make a bold move still for the now and the future. They can still do that even if they get back to 500 and are in playoff position. All right, like it's
90 wins back in play.
There's a chance that they can be something. I don't know. I'm not saying they're back, but when you win a series against one of the best teams in the league and you've won 5 out of your last 6, they're playing like we expected them to play all season. These last 2 games, last 5 out of the last 6, they played like we expected them to, or at least somewhat of what we expected them to, because they've been scoring runs.
Easy E 134 with a super chat. Just when I thought I was out, they draw me back in. Fly the W. What do you think, Brian?
It's last July all over again.
Yeah.
It's
it's happening a little bit earlier.
They they've won 3 straight now for the first time since April. They won 4 straight, April 23rd through April 26th. Like 3 straight's not this super long winning streak, but winning streaks have to come from somewhere. So I remember Justin Steele said on Friday after his complete game, he's like, basically it was like we just have to play better. Winning streaks happen all the time, and basically like who's to say it's not us, right? Like that's basically what his message was. And they've won 3 straight, so like you call that a winning streak. And then they've won back-to-back series for the first time since that road trip, Seattle and Arizona. They took 2 of 3 in both Seattle and Arizona. So that's basically 3 months since they've won back-to-back series now, and they managed to do it against the Angels and now the Orioles. No, I mean, I think we're still at the point where it's like you don't feel great about their chances until they just continue to keep doing it, because they did for so long. They were not doing it for so long. They were giving you reason not to believe that, like, winning 5 of 6 and winning back-to-back series, it feels good, but it doesn't make you like feel super great that like this team is back. The team is back. They've turned it around. They're going to buy at the deadline. Like, you're not. I don't think you should be there yet. But you can feel good about winning back-to-back series, especially when one of them's coming against. Are they the best team in the American League? I think so.
No,
the Orioles?
Cleveland passed them last night.
So coming into the series, they were the best team in the American League. So that's a good series, especially on the road. A good series win. Obviously, still potential for a sweep going into a 4-game set on the road in St. Louis. Tomorrow they have that chance to do that. But yeah, I don't think you should be like completely back in on this team, but they're showing you signs the last week.
I won't tell people how to fan. If they want to think they're back, I'm saying for me, I'm like, I know. Screw it. I'll tell you how to fan. You should again pump the brakes a little bit. They have given you a lot more reason to not believe in them than to believe in them. For sure.
But I mean, if you want to be back in, like, go ahead. I'm not back in, but I'll say that they have shown signs in the last week that they're on the right track.
Joey, what would you say if I told you that 19 minutes of rain could wash away 2 months of tears?
Was it 19?
Tonight.
It's really good.
That's the new shirt.
That'd be a good shirt.
Hobby shirts, print that
Greatest game ever played was on a Wednesday in July.
Yeah. If I told you.
Hell yeah, brother.
We have another super chat. This one's a good one. Somebody's got problems with the buttons. What is that super chat? Was it Zero Demon says for $49.99?
What does this button do? Oh my God, Zero Demon.
I love
Thank you,
Zero Demon.
That's probably our best super chat ever. What does this button do? $49.99.
Yeah, now you know what the button does.
Now you definitely know, Zero Demon.
That's our fun to go to Japan.
Yeah, that's our fun to go to Japan.
Started our Japan fun.
We didn't even have to tweet about it.
No, there it is.
Yeah.
We started it up.
I think the better, like the if you are looking for like this as like the turnaround, right? That's where you're at mindset wise. Like things you can look at from these last 2 games is just like pretty maybe yesterday more than today, but just like overall all around good performance by this team, right? Like it's not. Yesterday you got good starting pitching, you got a lot of offense, you played good defense, and that's the 3 big phases of the game and one of the game. Bullpen obviously did well yesterday as well. Today, not as much offense, but definitely enough where Shota's giving you shutout, 6 shutout innings. The bullpen is doing its job, the defense is doing its job. So definitely like we can say enough offense to get you to the end of that game. So like all the phases of the game, for the most part, have worked pretty well in concert these last 2 games in Baltimore. And that's what we just hadn't seen for so long is the phases of the game all clicking at the same time, running like a well-oiled machine. But that again, like I've said it, and my mindset has been this Cubs team is should be better than what they've shown in May and June. And they just need to put complete games together. Because they don't have a superstar bat to carry the offense, right? Like the starting pitching has been great, but can it hold up forever? The bullpen was still trying to figure itself out. What they needed to do is just put together a string of games where all of them could just be good enough together at the same time. They don't need to be. They don't need like all these whatever. Like they don't need all these things. Like just superstar playing at elite levels at the same time. Just complete games, put good stretches together. And I guess so far, the last 5 of the last 6 games is what you're seeing from the 3 phases of the game, putting themselves together. I think that's what we've been waiting to see out of the Cubs team. They've done it for 5 of the last 6 games now, and they just need to keep doing that.
Oh, so we have breaking news. Gary and I believe Shane are breaking the news through Megan Montemurro, who broke the news that Council broke the news that Bellinger is going to get testing. He couldn't throw. Hurt his middle finger on the hit by pitch. So we don't really have anything super official on that.
Also, Rogue Wave sent a super chat.
We got another super chat, Joey?
Yeah, we did.
We another one?
His is $19.99.
$19.99.
The button does button things.
Rogue Wave Creative, thank you.
And Zero Demon with throwing out around another $49.99.
Wow. No beer bats, no beer brats.
Brats?
Yeah.
I think he wants you to do a beer bet.
I'm not doing a beer. I mean, he did give us $100.
A hundo.
But I'm standing. I have integrity. I'm not doing it until I feel like
you
it's
don't have
ready.
Integrity.
Yeah.
I do have integrity.
I do a lot of things.
All
for
I don't know if
$100.
he has integrity.
I do have a lot of integrity. All right. When I say something,
But
I
another
do.
$49.99 might take away that integrity.
And that would just be because I feel bad. Like if you send something, a regular chat says we want a beer bat. Like,
Arp says you said no chugs until they win 3 straight.
I didn't say that. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said in general that I'm not doing one
Oh, no,
until
you
I
said-
feel
You
like
also
they
wanted
deserve
to
it.
trade away all their good players.
Yeah, all the good players.
Obviously. I've been saying that for 2.5 years.
He did say he wouldn't do a beer bat until they weren't the third worst
and
team
they're like
in the National League, and that
and they're
happened
not
yesterday.
Oh, that did happen
They
yesterday.
were not the worst, the
They're
third
now-
worst team coming in.
They are now the 5th worst
There
team.
you go.
in the
I kind of think
National
now
League.
you have to not do a beer bat chug until the winning streak is over.
to do one, like to commemorate
possibly
the winning
tomorrow.
streak.
Shota shirt is on sale, of course, at allchgo.com. And
CHGO
he was spectacular. This is his 6th scoreless start this season.
Yep.
ERA under 3, just like Tyone. Listen, I don't know what else you could ask for the guy. I think what was really impressive tonight is it's a hitter's ballpark against one of the best teams in baseball. And it was close, but he didn't give up a home run. That ball was that's a night where the ball that's a night where the ball carries, and it is, despite the fact that they've moved back the wall a little bit, like 2 feet, it's still a hitter's ballpark. And we know that home runs are something, if he's not quite right, he's susceptible to. So in my eyes, this was as good as any start he's had this season.
I would say it's more than 2 feet.
I heard it was
What?
only 2 feet.
Isn't it more than 2 feet?
Well, they moved it
How
back.
far they moved it back? I
They
heard
moved
it was only
it back
2 feet.
and moved it up, like raised the wall.
Okay.
It's
It's still a hitter's ballpark, though.
I think
Yeah.
it's more towards the middle now because
Okay.
it was like very like.
But hot and humid, ball carries on a night like this.
Here's what's really funny. That Jordan Westberg double is a home run in every ballpark except for Camden Yards. We had the fly out by, I think it was McCann. No, it was a Rutschman. That's a fly. It was a fly out. It's a home run in 19 of 30 ballparks. And then was it the Austin Hayes fly ball that almost went out? That was a fly out. That was a home run in 2 of 30 ballparks.
Ryan, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. He was shoving.
He was. No, I'm like
He was shoving.
He didn't give up home runs.
you also
he played
have,
in the ballpark he played in.
Yeah.
You also have
no, I'm
to-
not
right?
saying that. Like I'm saying
I
he
thought
like,
you were throwing cold water on
No,
Shota.
I'm saying
what do
he,
you have
like-
against Shota?
I'm saying it was close, but they moved the wall back, and he
Yeah,
he kept the ball in the ballpark. That's
you
that's
also
the
have
point.
you also have to acknowledge the fact that the weather the last 2 days
Oh, it
has
was
played a massive factor into how these games have gone. And thankfully it's gone well for the Cubs, but Shota had almost 30 pitches in the first inning and he still went 6.
Mhm.
And with that heat, I mean, you could see the sweat. Luke Little literally looked like he was in a pool out there on the mound, right? The way that the weather conditions were set up, not set up great for any pitcher today, and Shota still went out there and gave you 6 strong, speaks to the type of guy or type of pitcher he is. Like, he just grinded. That last inning where he got those 2 strikeouts to end it, like, I was surprised that Counsell left him in, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And he got those 2 strikeouts, and I think the most impressive one that he got might have been the Gunnar Henderson one on the check swing.
Mhm.
And yeah, that might have been one of his top 3 most impressive performances of the season.
Yeah.
Just because of the team he played.
The team, the weather,
all of it.
Yes.
I think the biggest thing from Shota we saw today was just him battling.
Yeah.
Him battling. Like, there was a few counts he's down, 3-1, 2-0, whatever it is. Like, there was some counts, especially earlier in the game when he got down in the count early. And just continued to battle. I think that was the biggest thing that was, to me, the most impressive thing to him is just whether it was the conditions, whatever it was, obviously facing a really good offensive team, whatever it is, like just the fact that he continued to battle in counts, in at bats, obviously throughout the game as well. You're just seeing the guy go out there and be him and attack hitters and attack the strike zone and, again, battle. And I think that was very good to see from him on a day when just the weather and all the other stuff, the team you're playing, it just didn't It obviously didn't lend itself to like you're gonna have a perfect game type performance, but like he was a really good performance from him today.
We'll talk about Morel's 16th homer in just a bit, but first, Cody, did you have Morel in prize picks for daily fantasy today?
Unfortunately, did not. I was, being a little pessimistic, and I had Ryan Mountcastle in my prize picks entry to hit a homer. And honestly, he came very close in the first inning. It just went foul. So the thought process behind it wasn't wrong, and he did end up having 3 hits. So I guess if I had taken him to get a hit in my prize picks entry, it perhaps might have hit. But yeah, they, there's always tomorrow's prize picks entry, guys, like, because there's sports every single day. So whether it's baseball or, I was having some fun watching some WNBA, the Sky Run this afternoon. That was a lot of fun. Angel Reese rebounds continue to profit my bank account. Yeah, you can do it all on prize picks. All right. Prize picks, they always have like free squares. They had one for the hot dog eating contest on July 4th last week. So you got to always look out for those types of things because they try to make your entry even better than you think it could be, right? It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. Like I said, they got great promotions that help you build your entry. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. It's really that easy if you're smart enough, right? They got all kinds of things going on. Like I said, and for me, tonight, Ryan Mountcastle. Then Shota Imanaga. If you had strikeouts, maybe you had more than or less than. I don't remember how many did he end up having? 6? I don't remember what
6
the line
strikeouts
was. But I didn't have him in my entry, but you can do that. Let's go to tomorrow. Justin Steele, strikeouts, more than or less than. I'm going to assume the line will be somewhere around 5.5 or 6.5 based off his recent outings. But the Orioles are good against left-handed pitching. Not so much tonight, but who knows? Justin Steele been shoving. That's the big question. Can he go more than or less than on that? Michael Busch to get a hit, you might as well put that in there because the guy just keeps on hitting. Ian Happ didn't have a hit tonight, got robbed of one. I think he could be good for a hit tomorrow because he's just been red hot, right? You can do it all on prize picks. Or you just, you want to make even more money, just do them all to hit a homer, right? Download the app today. Use code CHGO for that first deposit match up to $100. That's code CHGO for your first deposit match up to $100. Prize picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Get ready to vibe with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor activities. They have hundreds of options to choose from. You're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. They probably even have your favorite team's favorite colors. Huh? How do I look? Beautiful.
Great.
That's right. I wear Shady Rays while I'm fishing, golfing, and simply turning heads on a sidewalk. Plus, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our CHGO listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by more than 300,000 people. Do you see how good I look in these?
You look fantastic. I hope I look that good.
Look at that, Cubs colors.
I hope
right
I look
there.
that good when I'm your age.
That's right.
With Shady Rays on.
You just hope you get to my age.
Oh, that's true.
All right, Christopher Morel started the offense early. We talked about it last night, how Busch had the early home run, and Cody was like, boy, it's easier to pitch. You feel a little bit better, especially in the warm weather. You got a little lead. You're a little more comfortable out there. And we've been waiting for Morel to kind of come around and have this next step season, right? That's his 16th home run. He still has home runs. He still might hit 30. It's possible, 30, you know? Yeah. I would argue, and tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to argue that Christopher Morel and his development is more important than any position player on the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
Who would the other choices be? And tell me I'm wrong.
I think
Morel's development, forget defensively, Morel's development offensively is the most important thing for any position player currently on the Cubs.
I think I mean, it would be super important because, like, just the results going up would be huge offensively because we know the raw talent with the bat, if he can reach some of that potential, would be huge. And then obviously defensively, if he can get to a serviceable defense, like having a serviceable defender at third with Morel with the kind of bat he can have, like that could be a game changer instead of having to just use him as a DH all the time. So I think on both sides of the ball, his development is pretty massive. If
we say just offensive, his offensive development, Gary in the chat is right. You know, another one for sure is Bush.
Bush, I think is there too. I may go with Crow-Armstrong. Obviously the defense is elite. We're already seeing that. The base running, he does wonders, stealing bases and all that, and causing havoc on the base pass. But like if we're talking offensively, like if he can get to a point where like he's never gonna be I don't think he's ever gonna be like the best bat in this Cubs lineup, especially not if they're like at a point where they're competing for World Series titles. Like I don't see him there, but having him to a point where like they can put him in the leadoff position, he can set the table because he can bunt for a base hit, he can do all this other stuff, would be huge. And just based on what he is defensively, what he can be defensively, like perennial Gold Glove contender defensively, if he can get to like a 110 WRC plus, like you're looking at a very, very, very valuable player. I don't know if it's superstar player, but like a really, really valuable player for the team. I think that's huge if he can get to that.
And let me clarify, because maybe I didn't state that as clearly as I should have. What I'm saying is his development moving forward offensively is the most important of any position player. I'm not saying what we've seen from his development, because then I would say, okay, well, the development that we've seen from Michael Bush is the biggest development that we've seen so far this season. But I'm saying the most important thing moving forward for the Cubs, of any of the position players they have right now, his offensive development is more important because the power is greater than anybody else's. And it's something they drastically don't have. Bush is very valuable. PCA is very valuable, but they do not have the raw power that Christopher Morel could be. And that seems to be the one of the things that this team just desperately needs. Now, you could say Seiya or somebody could be that impactful too, but he's just not. He's not as young. I don't think he has the high power ceiling. What do you think?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think for Morel, like the defense matters in his overall development too, because like the bat could be incredible, but like I think
as a DH,
I think the ability to have him play a defensive position is also a big part of that too.
Well, based off how the Cubs do things, like everyone in our YouTube chat, and honestly, rightfully so, as much as, you know, at the beginning of the year to now, I think we can all comfortably sit here and say the defense has made strides, but, you know, minus 11 outs above average just speaks volumes of how bad you've basically been for an entire season. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's, you know, great or good. That said, though, you know, the bat is obviously most important with him, and I know the numbers aren't there, the results aren't there. We've talked about it at ends about expected stats and stuff, and I'll sit here and admittedly say that over the last handful of weeks, the at-bats haven't even been aesthetically pleasing. We've been seeing a lot of check swings, and he's not been making good contact of late either, right? Mm-hmm. I will say, though, for a large part of the season, I do feel like the BABIP gods have hurt him. So I think you can say two things are true when it comes to Morel this year and his development. Like, I think that there obviously is a lot of improvement defensively, and I think you can also argue that the defense, the playing third base every day, it has played a role. I think you can make the argument that the defense has played a role in his offense and why it's essentially taking a step back. I mean, again, we're
taking away his focus.
We're sitting here in mid-July, and the numbers aren't there. That doesn't mean I'm out on him. Doesn't mean that I think they should trade him or whatever. I've said that for the right player, if a team wants to buy low on him and you get a really good player back in somehow, some way, then perhaps. But I'm not sitting here advocating for it, right? So I think as far as what's most important is who's the most important. I do think his development is so much more important than anyone else, just because he is the one guy that can hit the ball over the fence more often than anyone else in this lineup. Yeah. And if you're able to take a bat with that kind of raw power and make him a 30 to 40 home run guy year in and year out, it changes your entire lineup. We sat here and said that the Cubs were banking on him to be to take that next step and be a 30 to 40 home run power guy. And I know we struggled, but again, 16 homers, despite how miserable it's been to watch him and to be honest, he still has 16 homers, like he can't hit the ball out of the park. So he needs more hits. And despite not getting enough hits at this point, because when you're hitting 200, you're clearly not getting enough hits. The K rate is still down. The walk rate is still high. Those are good signs, but yeah, he still needs to hit more. But they would have to be an insane trade that would lead me to believe that the Cubs would even entertain trading him. So it's been a tough first half, but I think there's still a lot to like going forward.
I think if I'd be curious how the Cubs would answer that question, and I think what they might be thinking behind closed doors is if you're talking about, let's say those are the top three you're talking considering for development offensively, or just considering developing overall. Bush, PCA, and Morel, the three younger guys on the team, right?
Yeah.
I think personally they'd probably be very happy if two of the three took that next step.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty wishful thinking to hope that all three take the next step. That's just the reality of the failures of baseball.
No, that's just baseball. That's just the game.
I could be completely wrong. Like, you make a good point about PCA because
that's valuable if he hits 285.
His defense is so elite already, and then you have great base running. Like, if he figures out to hit, he's a 4-WAR player.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. Like PCA's development is just basically tied to his offense because the defense is already so good, the base running is already so good. Like, it's just about the hitting. Like, as far as like where you feel like he needs to take the next step in his development, like offense is absolutely like that. That's the clear number one for him. Morel is just like, because the defense is such a factor as well, and if he can play a position or not. For me, that just like, if we're only looking at offense. For me, it's just like the defense matters too much to just like put that to the side as far as
then maybe the answer is Bush because he's the guy that's in the middle of those two.
Yeah. He's your guy that you are hoping can be that first baseman of the future. His defense has improved this year. The offense, the bat obviously has looked good for a while now, and like if he can be a consistent middle of the order bat, then he's also looking like a guy that, or if he can get there, then you feel really good about what he could be. Again, in that middle of the order for you long term. Because
of the stuff you've seen with not chasing the sliders and the walk rate and all that stuff, the Cubs have been pretty open about how they're waiting for something to happen, for him to go on a big run. And so far, we just keep waiting. We'll see what the unofficial second half of the season brings. Coming up after a quick break, we're going to break down the bullpen's future next. What's the key to that bullpen and which of the young arms will emerge? We have a few Seltz-ups that are in my future. Penrose Brewing, Geneva, Illinois. Seltz-ups, hard seltzers with real fruit, led by Lemon Seltz-up, a national gold medal-winning hard seltzer with real lemons. They created our unique twist with a lemon shake-up with a real house-made hard seltzer and pureed lemons for a throwback to warm weather and county fairs. And also available Lemon Tea Up, a half-and-half inspired hard seltzer. Just released this year, Transfusion Seltz Up, inspired by a popular golf cocktail with grape, ginger, and lime. Ginger makes almost everything just a little bit better. Penrose available at your local beverage retailer or visit Penrose's Taproom in Geneva. For more information, go to penrosebrewing.com or follow them on social media at Penrose Brewing. I know Joey and I like to have a few Penrose Seltz Ups as we, hit the back nine. Once you hit the ninth, you like to make the turn on the golf course. You like to have a nice, refreshing Seltz Up, and a lot of times the one with the ginger is the way to go.
Between me, you, Matt, and Jeremy, shared a couple of Penrose.
A lot of Penrose. You want to smell good, too, let me tell you, on a golf course.
Yeah, you want to smell good on the golf course, especially it's summer. It's going to be hot on the golf course. You're in the sun. You want to smell good, you gotta check out Mando deodorant. Cody could tell you firsthand, Braggs, before the accident, Braggs would join him at the Friday 120 Club in the bleachers, and Braggs may smell. You never know.
May? Not anymore.
Yeah.
But previously.
Well, I was trying to be nice.
Oh, Mando, did he smell?
I was trying to be nice. Trying to be nice to
guy
Braggs.
falls down an escalator and you're going to be a dick like that. Luke, come on, man.
But he wasn't smelling. He wasn't smelling when he was using Mando. We know that.
That's right.
Here's why. Mando doesn't cover up odor after the fact with heavy fragrances like certain other deodorants. It stops odor at the source by blocking the bacteria on your skin from eating your sweat, which is the actual cause of BO. And what does that mean? It means Mando is clinically proven to control odor for up to 72 hours. That's a long time. So give yourself the precious gift of time and get yourself some Mando whole body deodorant. Real quick, special offer. New customers get $5 off Mando's best-selling starter pack with code CHGO at shopmando.com. Mando gives you the whole body deodorant. Mando, seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, packages, the grundle and the balls, belly button, butt crack, stinky crevices, stomach folds, and feet. Created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Mando whole body deodorant is powerful enough for the toughest body odor, but gentle enough to use everywhere, allowing you to put Mando on the family jewels without any worry because Mando is aluminum-free, baking soda-free, cruelty-free, dye-free, and vegan. Clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's grundle odor level was a 5 out of 10. With Mando,
What's the odor?
The grundle odor.
Oh.
But with Mando, the average grundle odor level is a 0 out of 10. So Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with the solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Love that. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHGO at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com, code CHGO.
Man, I tell you, Luke Little needed a little Mando. And I know Joey, who went to Texas, everyone.
I mean, everyone at Camp
Joey's
one thing before Luke Little. The Penrose Seltzer, it's so good that they advertise on this show because it reminds me a lot of like a lemon chill that you would get
County Fair
at a nice or a hot Cubs game, like day game.
Warm breeze.
Italian ice lemon chill. Go get yourself one of those.
I'm surprised that Joey commented on Seltz Ups because I thought from his time in Austin he was going to say, listen, nothing more important than Mando Commando when it's hot in the summertime in Texas.
We're going to be in Las Vegas with CHGO Bulls this weekend for Summer League.
Oh, goodness. For Peck, you got to bring the Mando.
I think it was 118 there today.
Mando's feet and those leather Birkenstocks.
Yeah. No question.
Spare yourself.
Also, it's just hot, so you're going to need Mando in general, no matter what size you are, what whatever.
Big Dave always smells fresh, so he must use Mando.
Yeah. Yeah, Big Dave's the best smelling guy in this office.
Oh, he's like a breath of fresh air when he walks in.
Yeah.
Peck's feet, on the other hand, not so
There's
much.
a reason he's always wearing a tank top. He's like, doesn't want to let all keep all that in. He's got to
let
it loose.
Right. Hey, Moses, put a little Mando on those things, would you? Listen, so the bullpen tonight, Luke Little, Porter Hodge, they come in. Again, we said, let's see more of this Let us see more of these guys, some heat. And we've said the last couple nights that if there is one place that I could actually see the Cubs improving, that I believe, and Cody was on with me, I think you might be too, Ryan, that the most likely place for the Cubs to improve in the second half of the season is not offensively, it's in that bullpen because of guys coming back and hopefully not too many guys going out if they're going to trade people. But I have a question for you. Of that group, Little, Hodge, let's go with this group. Little, Hodge, Palencia, Big E. Put in Ben Brown, just in case he's a bullpen guy. You could put in Wesneski if you want. Killian, Ethan Roberts, and Gary's favorite, Cam Sanders from the past, who's now been promoted back up to AAA. Who of those guys will actually emerge out of that big group as a real bullpen weapon on the next great Cubs team? Which of those guys will, and how many of them will emerge as key pieces to a Cubs bullpen on the next good to great Cubs team?
If I'm picking one,
where's your confidence and who would they be?
If I'm picking one, and it obviously depends on if they
Carter
plan
Hawkins
on
is
using
Arias.
It obviously depends on if they're using him as a starter or reliever, but like Ben Brown, I think, has shown to be the most consistent one. Obviously, he came up beginning of the year, like second game of the year, he was back, and just didn't have a great first outing in the majors, but he's been really good pretty much ever since. Obviously, he's been hurt now for a few weeks, but I think I guess it depends what their plan to use him with. But if they do put him in the bullpen long term, like I think he's got obviously really good stuff to work really well out of that bullpen. That would be my one, but I think there's definitely
so if he's a bullpen piece, he would be the guy at the top of your list.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense because we've seen success from him at the major league level.
Yeah.
Let's take Ben Brown out of it, because I think most people would answer Ben Brown. But although I do see a lot of Biggie and Hodge, I see Brown and Hodge. Let's take Ben Brown out then and say, all right, he's in the rotation. Is Wesneski in that group? Is it Porter Hodge? Is it Biggie? Is it Palencia? Is it?
I mean, I'm still high on Palencia. That guy can dot 101. His thing is the same thing that we've talked about Hodge and Little and, stuff like that. Like command has been an issue for him. I've thought that this year he's taken gradual steps forward in the short amount of time that we've seen him pitch. Why he hasn't been recalled, I'm not exactly sure. I know he was hurt, but I believe he's active in Iowa now. I don't know what they're doing. And at the same time, though, this bullpen is kind of stabilized once again. So I'm not necessarily complaining about it, but he is still a guy that I'm still high on. Part of the Andrew Chafin trade a handful of years ago. And as we say all the time, guys in the bullpen are so volatile. So I don't know if any of these guys can be your future closer. All I know is that they give me more optimism about the bullpen in general going forward. All right. That's the one thing I can say. The guys that you just mentioned, they definitely are setting themselves up nicely for the future with those guys. And I always said that, like, if they can build their bullpen from within, it will be better for the organization down the road. So it's good to see some of these guys have success. Luke Little and Porter Hodge again tonight in high leverage. 3-0 whenever those guys came in? I mean, the rain delay happened, and Luke Little comes in, throws one pitch, and he had an 0-2 count on Rushman already. One pitch after the rain delay, strikes him out. Then Porter Hodge comes in with runners on, gets the out, then has a clean 8th inning. I mean, this is high leverage against one of the best teams in baseball. Those two guys going out there with the game on the line in some ways. It helps that it's not a one-run game when they're out there, but you know what I mean? Like, these are important innings for those guys. So I love what we're seeing from the bullpen in terms of how they're building it and how a lot of the guys that they're invested in are doing so far. So I don't know who the guy has the highest ceiling, but I'm still high on Palencia. I am being really delusional about Biggie after one appearance.
Well, the live YouTube chat, I've never seen them so excited about one player. Well, that might be the most
he dotted 100 miles per hour yesterday.
That's
Luke.
the most optimistic I've seen folks about one player in a long time is Biggie.
Well, and that's why I said Palencia, because he dots 101 sometimes, So these high velocity guys, those are the guys I'm always going to be most optimistic about in the bullpen, because that's just where the league is. The best teams in the league, their best relievers are all doing that. So, it's a very positive sign to see the Cubs kind of get some of these guys in there, especially Biggie and, like I said, Hodge and Little.
How many do you think would be impactful in the next good to great Cubs bullpen? Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to have these young arms instead of having to go pay for someone on a free agent market or a trade market. Instead of spending big money for that because closers are so expensive, they'd rather have a pipeline of them and try and get them like the Brewers have had before, like try and have the next guy up, and that happened. I'm curious how many of those guys will actually be a piece, because that seems to be one of the strengths of the farm system is young arms that throw hard. So I don't know. 2, 3, is that optimistic?
I think it's optimistic, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I guess we're forgetting maybe Keegan Thompson and
they have a lot of dudes.
Michael Arias.
I mean, Ethan Roberts is a guy that I'm still high on, and they just send him back down, probably because he's just not ready yet, or not necessarily
getting
Mark
Mark Letter Jr. back.
Yeah.
You got guys that are performing well in that bullpen, and I think that's something that we just haven't talked about because
it really hasn't been very good in general.
There was obviously
there's been
some
stretches, but
I think it's been
but they also were using guys like Colton Brewer and Drew Smiley.
But what I'm trying to say is you pick your date, the first 2 months of the season was bad, but then from June on, I don't remember the exact numbers. I wrote about this in my newsletter actually yesterday, ALLCITY.com.
Diehard.
Become a diehard.
That's a tease.
I know.
But it was surprising the bullpen, I don't remember the exact, their ERA as a whole from June on was something I think it was top 10 in baseball. It might have been 7th or 8th, something like that, but it was top 10 in baseball. You had a bunch of guys who were doing well. Hector Neris, even though traffic definitely has still been a little bit of an issue, this is 6 straight scoreless outings, I believe, for him. Porter Hodge and Luke Little had earned higher leverage roles just from getting the walk rate down, hitting the strike zone more, staying in the strike zone more. Even Drew Smiley, man, when he's had, I think, had 3 earned runs in his last 6 2/3 innings, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the most recent wasn't as good, but from when he came off the IL at the end of May, he had a 2.45 ERA. So he'd been pretty dependable out of the bullpen. Tyson Miller, obviously.
Tyson Miller, I guess that's another guy we
has been really good. So it was whereas even Ethan Roberts, the results had been good. I don't know if eye test had been as good as the numbers showed, but he was pitching lower leverage spots anyway. Right. So, but even that, you just had him, Jorge Lopez, whoever it is. Basically, everyone had been pitching fine to better, a minimum fine out of that bullpen for the most part over the last month or so. And that has been hidden, I think, a little bit because the offense was still trying to figure out how to get going. But the bullpen's actually, you're starting to see some answers from the young guys coming up and stepping up and earning bigger roles, and some guys coming off the injured list. And you're starting to see some answers to the bullpen issues. And as we get deeper into July and some more of these guys come off the injured list, you might actually start looking at it as this is the bullpen that we felt better about going into the season that just hadn't been.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Isn't it funny how that storyline could be changing halfway through the season? Maybe we're being too optimistic about it, but I don't know if there was anything people were more upset about this season than the bullpen sucks.
Right. Well, there's 2 things are true. It does feel like the bullpen is trending up. They still don't necessarily have a closer that we believe in.
I still think, and that's a point where you're you still don't.
Maybe he's the guy.
You still don't feel comfortable bringing the bullpen in just because they don't have guys that you would consider lockdown closer, or you still have that
the anxiety,
the stench of the first 2 months.
Yeah, the anxiety.
But I mean, you're looking at it as today the bullpen did fine and knocked it down and didn't let them score. Right, a team that we know has a very good offense. And that's when you look back at the last few weeks, it's okay, this bullpen has actually been better. Hasn't necessarily translated into wins every time, but it has been better. And that's where you're looking at it as like, for this team to trend up, the bullpen trending up is absolutely a very big part of them, getting that turnaround if they can get there.
I think too, and I got a lot of people clap back at me about a lot of this, especially in like May, whenever I still, was very optimistic about the team. They played like we've said, they played a lot of 1-run games, but there were a lot of those 1-run games where they would allow 2 or 3 runs, and then they would score 2 runs late, and the bullpen actually kept them in the game, but the offense just wouldn't score enough runs to tie it or take the lead, and so no one wants to take into account of a lot of those games either. So that's why I don't necessarily feel like the bullpen is as bad or been as bad as a lot of people feel. Like, I know that it's not good, but I also know that it's had its moments and good stretches throughout the season. But the offense has been the biggest thing to me that's been bad since April, except until these last 6 games. So when you score runs like they have, and even tonight, 4 runs, which is, you feel like you score 4 runs, that should be enough to win most nights, but not every night. You scored 9 runs yesterday, you should win every single game you scored 9 runs. But again, tonight, 4 runs, Shota was great, and the bullpen came in and they had a more than 1-run lead, and they shut it down against a good offense. So, they need more. The bullpen needs some of that help, too, from the offense to let them come in there in a multi-run lead and get it done. And that said, there have been games, too, where they've blown. But, every team has those. And it's not even really making an excuse for a lot of those guys. I'm just saying that they need more games like this where you lead 4-0 entering the 9th inning, or lead 5-0 going into the 9th inning like they did against the Angels in the Friday and Sunday win, right? They need more of those types of games where the bullpen isn't just being relied upon to be absolutely perfect.
It is funny, by the way, that also because the bullpen is so unpredictable. I mean, think back to a couple years ago. If you would have told me that in 2024, Mark Leiter would be your biggest weapon in the bullpen, that wouldn't have been the player that I would have said, yeah, that's the guy that's going to be. There were so many other arms. You were still talking Braylon Marquez and all these other young guys. Yeah. Very few people would have said out of nowhere, yeah, Mark Leiter Jr. is going to be the guy that would be the most valuable piece of your bullpen when healthy.
So here's, by the way, the stats I was referencing earlier. So from the start of the season through the end of May, Cubs bullpen had the 4th worst ERA, which is 4.61 in baseball, and it's 12 blown saves. We're tied for the 2nd most in baseball. That sounds right for the first 2 months. Things had gotten better again. I just went from the start of June, and this was start of June through Monday. The Cubs bullpen ERA was 3.41, which was number 7 in baseball, and it had blown 5 saves. That was more middle of the pack. Again, not like just improvement. Improvement is what you needed to see from the bullpen. And if you wanted to go from the small sample of the first 6 July games, they had a 2.41 ERA, which is number 4 in baseball, and didn't blow a save. And so now the last 2 days, you've seen those numbers would have improved, right? So it's just seeing improvements from the bullpen overall, getting, holding leads, keeping teams off the board, whatever it is, just overall improvement from the first couple months of the season when it was like, how do they fix this bullpen? Those are the big questions for sure. But you've seen the improvements over. It's still not like a super large sample size, but it's a pretty solid.
It had nowhere to go but up. Hopefully, never nervous near us. Stock up.
Still
we're not doing that yet. We're not doing that yet?
I haven't waved the white flag.
Sorry, not yet.
And if they keep playing like this, I'm not waving the white flag.
Sorry, we're not doing that.
Don't wave the white flag until they're 10 under.
Maybe we were doing it now.
You made him angry.
We wave the white flag when they're 10 under.
He's not doing beer bats, and he's not doing stock up yet.
I'm not saying we're back, but the season isn't over. I'm a man of integrity, Luke. A man of integrity.
Again, questionable, but okay. Questionable.
Do I tell you how to think?
You're a man of questionable integrity. but it is still in some sort of integrity. Don't worry about it.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Did you see Cade Horton's throwing on flat ground? That's another,
Is he?
It's good.
I did not see that.
That was an update
This is
today
news to me at the moment.
before the game that Cade Horton throwing on flat ground.
Well, that's good news.
Don't miss out on the big watch party we've got coming up Friday at Village Tavern and Grill in Carroll Stream.
There we go.
Joey, have you ever had their tenders?
I haven't.
Well, you've heard about them.
I've heard they're amazing.
World famous.
World famous.
With
They
the
talk
honey
about
mustard?
it. Their tenders all across the world. You could be in like Japan.
Amsterdam. People will be like,
And they're
you ever had
talking
the
about
tenders in Carroll Stream?
Yeah,
Village
exactly.
It's crazy.
I
It's
will-
crazy how that goes.
I will
you know?
hype up Village Tavern. Their tenders are fantastic. Getting them for like the whole the catering trays, like the aluminum trays of them for like Super Bowls and stuff.
You had them?
Oh, they're amazing.
I
They're
have
amazing. Birthday parties and everything. Back in the burbs,
I went to Italy once, and I didn't know what they were even talking about because I'd heard about this, but there were a lot of people around there. The Italians were all talking about Delmetrics and tenders in Carroll Stream, and I thought, that's odd. What are they even talking about? And now I know that news has crossed the pond, and now we know Delmetrics are a real thing, and tenders in Carroll Stream also real thing. We're going to find out Friday. Join us to watch another super chat.
We got
from
a
the
super
dude.
chat from a guy named The Dude.
The
He
Dude.
says, get your panties out of a wad. Good win. Do beer bat.
He's talking to you.
He's talking straight to you.
Dude is talking straight to you. For how much?
$1.99.
No, now we're over $50.
Yeah, we're over
52.
$50. We're over $100 in general. If you talk about the other
102.
guys.
We're 102.
Yeah.
Were those the only? Was that the last super chat, or did we have another one prior to that, Joey? That was it. I don't want to miss the super chats. People get mad when we miss the super chat.
I'll say this.
Fernando. So Cubs are buying now? Question mark. Saying there's a chance. Oh, and Matthew
Did we do that
Atkinson
one
also
from
had
Matthew?
a super chat.
Did he have another comment?
Did he have
just
a
sent
comment
one.
after that?
It's $4.99, and then he just forgot to put his comment. So
499. Thank you, Matthew.
You're gonna have to
Matthew,
search
come on,
him.
we're gonna look for it.
he didn't send one.
No,
He did it
But
on
we
accident.
appreciate
You're
that.
just like
Super
the
chat is
demon
super
guy.
chat.
Yeah. Okay, if they sweep tomorrow, I'll do a beer bat, even though I don't
you
even
just-
want to do one tomorrow.
You just jinxed it. Think you just jinxed it.
If they sweep tomorrow.
I don't know if that's the right move if they win tomorrow. If they win tomorrow, I think you got to keep doing what you're doing.
Perhaps. Yeah, that might, yeah. See, it's tough. It's
You
tough.
should have just done
It's-
it tonight.
It's
You
not
should've-
that I don't want to do one, because everyone knows, and I've seen your comments, like, I am a delusional idiot. I know. Okay. I know. But they aren't deserving of one. They put all of us through too much pain for 2 months, man. And now here we are again.
Got to get ice out of the bucket,
now
for Cody, when we got to cool him off. Sometimes
We're all over here talking about, should we buy, should we sell, this and that. We shouldn't have been talking about this season. We shouldn't have been. We should have been talking about buying in June. We should have been talking about who we need to add to make this team better. All right. So that's why I've kind of banned it for a while, because they just aren't deserving. But again, I'm not trying to be super negative every single show. They've been playing well for the last 5 days, 6 days, whatever.
Matthew was sending love from South Bend.
Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you,
Look at
man.
that,
Matthew.
Indiana crossing the borders
South
again.
Bend.
They know about the tenders there too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what else I actually heard about when I was in Italy? There was one more thing I kept hearing. I was like, I don't even know what that is. Tight money line splits, they kept saying. The Italians, they were talking about when you'd get your gelato, they'd say tight money line splits. And I didn't really put the two together.
Did
But
they?
now,
Yeah.
now with Circa, I know what they were talking about. They knew about Circa before I did.
I'm looking at a picture of the tenders here and what we're working with.
Is there a
They
photo?
do
Can we
look
see it?
Very interesting. They almost look like a fish and chips, is what I
A
would
little
say.
bit.
So almost like beer battered.
It looks beer
Should-
battered.
should
That's
we get it on
exactly
the
that's exactly
screen?
the terminology I was going for. It
Really?
looks beer battered, dry, so they're not covered in sauce or anything, which I
No,
think
they're
is
not.
good.
You're dipping them.
Yes,
They're
it looks like
dried.
served with maybe
They look like a piece of cod.
maybe a honey mustard that is.
Let's see, I'll pull it up
coleslaw.
for you,
Looks
Luke.
really good. I would highly recommend.
I've heard the honey mustard. I'm not a honey mustard guy. I'm a barbecue guy if I'm doing tenders. So you're saying it's a heavier coated tender, but not like Nashville
This
hot.
is what it looks like.
Okay, see
Oh,
those
I just
do
picked
look
something.
beer
They
battered.
do look pretty good from the picture that I see.
They do look sort of beer battered though.
Yeah, they
There you
do. Yeah, they're kind of
Little
giving
bit.
me a fish and
Now
fish
is the
and
beer
chips
batter
vibe.
crunchy
They're
or is
very
it a
good.
softer beer batter?
Mm.
It's not too crunchy. It's like it's definitely softer. It's not like other like you'll know.
We're talking
You'll know
so
on
much
Friday.
about this place. Y'all better come and hang out
Yeah.
with us on Friday, all right?
Gary,
I got to drive all the way to Carroll
I
Street.
wonder
You
if
better come hang out.
Are they better than Canes? That's the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not even a question because Canes didn't even have the best tenders of like
I don't even like
fast
Canes
food
unless they
places.
become a partner. Then I love Canes.
I love Canes if they become a partner.
Yeah.
They're not a partner currently.
no, but these are
Currently
world-
not a partner. If they were a partner, those are the best chicken
The
tenders I've
best.
Village Tavern is world famous
and local.
and local. Let's just keep it to Village Tavern.
Yeah.
I love their wings or fingers, chicken fingers. Sorry, I said wings, but chicken fingers. Love
Anyway, tomorrow, Justin Steele versus some other guy for the Orioles.
Wow, you got
They-
a chance to sweep with
We
Steele
got a
on the
good-
mound. Wow.
They need to sweep tomorrow, man. For because of the hole they put themselves in, they need to sweep tomorrow. And you got your, if not your best pitcher, your second best pitcher, right? Going on the mound. The guy's coming off a complete game. He's been absolutely nails since like his last start against the Pirates. He's been that good. And this is a kind of start that Justin Steele gets up for because he showed that last year. When they needed him to get a win, when they were in it last year, he did it. I know in September it was a little bit of a struggle, but there's more to that outside of him. Like the offense fell apart, the bullpen fell apart, all those things. But for the most part, like he was the guy last year. He's gone through this. So I'm optimistic about Justin Steele tomorrow shoving it to the Orioles.
Coming off his first ever complete game.
Yeah.
So something to build on there. Scott C. from Iowa says, don't bring the beer bat back yet.
Scroll back up, Joey.
Joey, I
You
lost it.
moved
You
it.
lost
There
it.
it is.
Don't bring it back yet. Cody set the mark they need to hit. Until they get there, the beer bat is in the closet. But Cody could start a new bit of doing a shot of Malort for sweeps.
You know what? Yes, I agree with that.
I kind of like that. To be
Joey, are
honest.
you here tomorrow? Are you
I
our
kinda like
producer?
Okay.
I'm not. I got to prepare for the Vegas trip.
Oh,
Well, whoever our producer
so you got to
is.
pack your Mando.
I kind of
Pack
like
it, man.
Scott's idea. Maybe we do shots of Malort if they
Shot
say
of Malort.
You do a shot.
I'll
of
do a
Malort.
I'll do a
That's
shot of Malort.
If Jared's going to be here, he'll probably smoke a victory stogie.
potentially.
Potentially.
Will that set off a fire alarm?
Probably.
Well, we have
The good news is there is a
Yeah,
sprinkler
porch.
system in here with the timber roof. I
Well,
think.
you know,
hopefully.
we'll
Yeah,
do,
this building would go up.
if we have Malort here.
quickly.
I don't have any Malort at home.
Like
and
a haystack.
I don't want to bring Malort in.
the pillars.
I feel like
the
there's
roof.
some Malort in this office.
There's
Oh,
Malort.
there's
I've seen
definitely
it.
Malort in the office above
Is
the
it?
sink. If
Okay.
anyone's wondering.
Well, maybe I'll bring a shot
It's
glass in
above the
tomorrow
sink.
because we're sweeping tomorrow. We're manifesting it. It's not delusion. I'm just manifesting. They need to win tomorrow. The way that if they play like they have the last 2 days, they're gonna win tomorrow. They've been awesome the last 2 days. If you take everything out, if you were a new fan to baseball and you just watched the last 2 games the Chicago Cubs have played, you would say that they're the best team you've ever seen. Of course, it's only 2 games and you've only seen 2 teams, so like take all that context out. But if you just had watched the 2024 Chicago Cubs for the first time the last 2 days, you would say that they're a good team. So they need to play like they did the
Small
last 2
sample
days.
size.
Small sample size. but
Very.
that's-
Who won? Who you got tonight? That's
Ooh.
question number 1. And question number 2 is Ryan man enough to take Nico tomorrow?
I'm man enough to take Nico tomorrow. We don't even know if he's playing. See, I don't,
he's playing. He's
I
catching
don't-
for
I don't
steal.
just
Come
pick-
on now.
I don't just
Nito's.
pick the night before like you used to when you actually
Well,
played.
based
So
off
you're
the
not taking
weather,
Nico?
based off the weather,
know.
I feel like Nico will be catching tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I mean, they said on the broadcast that Amaya had to change his jersey before the game even started.
He'll be
bro.
exhausted.
But
Yeah.
to your first question, I won. Who you got today? I might say a Suzuki pick, RBI single. Cody had PCA,
I did take PCA.
had a single.
And I had Hap. Did he do anything tonight? No.
No, I think he was 0 for 4. Seiya also had a
Did
steal.
have a hit taken away, but yeah.
Seiya also had a stolen base later on in the game. So another, put that down in the win column for me again.
Write
Here-
it down on
what did you
your.
say
your-
that this,
write it
like-
down on your napkin from Dirty Nelly's.
Oh, jeez. No, that play Dirty Nelly's
With the
is-
girl's
is not
number
Dirty
on it,
Nelly's
but
anymore.
Is it
doesn't
closed
it just
now
says
officially?
closed,
Yeah,
no
I'm
number.
pretty
I know
sure-
they were closing.
I'm pretty sure they pretty much cut it down to just that front bar room, like the
But it's
whole,
still called Dirty Nelly's?
Yeah,
or
I
no?
think so. There's news stories out there.
Look it up.
I'll look it up.
It's
It's definitely not going to be like the big stage,
Yeah,
that area,
Right.
that
The
venue
old
anymore.
days
yeah.
of Dirty Nelly's.
lastly,
Lastly?
we haven't mentioned them, and we've criticized. I know I've criticized a lot about one of these guys, and well, both of them, but not nearly as much as a lot of other people. But Nico Hoerner, 2 for 5 tonight with an RBI and a run scored.
And a dab.
Yes. The RBI was huge. That was fun.
Yeah.
Bring the dab back.
I'm with that. Bring the dab back for sure.
But the RBI single early in the game after Morel got the homer, like the Cubs that we've watched in 2024, Morel hits that homer and then there's no offense the rest of the game. Morel hit that homer and then Nico with two outs, with runners in score position, with Swanson on second base, hits that opposite field single to drive him in. Hits a double later, like a hustle double later in the game, and Bush drives him in. All with 2 outs. So I thought Nico was encouraging tonight. And then Swanson, 2 for 4. I know he was terrible yesterday, but he did have a good game on Sunday. So 2 out of his last 3 games have been better. I'm not saying he's back. I'm not saying that it's acceptable of what we've seen the last 2 months. But you know what? This offense will be better if Nico Hoerner and Dansby Swanson raise their OPSs above 700, which right now they're not. So if they do this more often, their offense is not only better, but they are also better.
Yeah. Our friend Michael Cerami at Bleacher Nation wrote up something on Nico, Morel, and Swanson the last month or so and how they've performed, and obviously it's definitely not up to where they need to be. And it was good information on just kind of where they've been at. And so I think when we've talked about, like we talked about yesterday, how Seiya, Bush, and Happ are all having good offensive seasons, but just clouded by kind of the overall offensive issues that we've seen the last couple of months. And obviously part of that is Morel, Nico, and Dansby, where you kind of expected them to be as far as the lineup, and them underperforming that. Like that just obviously plays a big part of it when 3 guys you need to be playing well aren't playing well offensively. And so I think you can, like, I don't think like Morel hitting a home run, Nico going and getting 2 hits, Dansby getting 2 hits, like you said, not back, but like you just need to see these guys.
They need to string together a streak.
Show some good signs, string together a good few games, a good week, and then you start feeling better. And
5 of 6.
And you see, but then with that, it's just like on top of Bush, Suzuki, and Happ, hopefully keeping it up, those other 3 guys starting to produce more and more, then that's when the wheels really start turning and you feel a lot better about the offense.
And I know Bellinger hurt his finger, but I mean, it's like we're talking about an offense that's producing, and Bellinger hasn't really done much of anything. He's been a singles hitter for the last month, right? Like everyone in the chat that's complaining about Belly, it has everything to do with the fact that he's not driving the ball, he's not slugging the ball, he's not hitting the ball over the fence.
Now you just hope his finger's not broken.
Yeah, right. That's number one. And then
ligament damage.
Number 2 is like the fact that they've been doing these last handful of games without him being that guy. It's like, all right, well, hopefully his hand's okay, and then we'll see, if he can finally, put something together offensively here in the next couple weeks. But yeah, I mean, they need Hoerner and Swanson to be more consistent offensively to have any actual real success moving forward.
Cubs win 4-0, and they take the series against the Orioles. Final game tomorrow. We'll be here for the pre- and post-game show. Hope you'll join us then. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, fly the W.